Hi, folks. Welcome to Revision. Today we're going to start Lesson 2 in our Create Your Own Guild series. The topic will be what type of guild you establish. In Lesson 1, I talked about leadership and the responsibilities of a guild master. Now we will focus on the niche you pick for your guild. Now, the main niches for most guilds are as follows. You have a trading guild, trials guild, PvP guilds, dungeon guilds, social guilds, role playing guilds, storage guilds, snipe guilds, and for everything else, I put a category as miscellaneous guilds. I'm going to talk about each of these categories and give some of my advice for some basic standards you can use when you're implementing your core identity for your guild. Now, let's start with the first and most popular type of guild that most people create in the game, and that is a trading guild. A trading guild is really easy to start. Basically, from the get go, you want to try to get as many people as you can into the guild so you can hit the magic number of 50 people. Okay? 50 people will get you a guild store and it will allow you to put in a bid for a public trader. So, whatever is sold within the store can be purchased publicly. If you do not have 50 people, you can't even have a store or put in any bids for public traders. And if you don't win a trader, then you can only sell within the guild store. It won't be available to the public unless individuals are in your respective guild. Now, for a trading guild, you have a couple options at your disposal because ultimately the goal each week for a trading guild is going to be to get a public trader. So, getting a public trader is not exactly easy in this game. It can cost a lot of gold. The bids can run a million or more, depending on what type of region you go for. And you can either set up a due system to help raise those funds, or you can be completely free. But keep in mind, if you are completely free, you will have to find means of raising money, whether it be from the donations from within your guild or from yourself. I've seen plenty of guild masters who just come up with the money on their own and they don't even ask for contributions. That's fine too. However, you do things, keep in mind you're going to have to raise a certain amount of money each week to get a public trader. Now, my recommendation for a trading guild, especially if you're just starting, don't try to go for a high profile area just yet, unless you have the infrastructure to do so. And when I say the infrastructure, having, you know, ultimately you're going to need a due system if you go for a really high profile trader, let's say, Mournhold. Now, there are guilds that have done it without that due system, but you don't see them in Mournhold each and every week. It's very difficult for them to sustain a Mournhold trader. So, yes, you can do it without a due system if you go for Mournhold. However, you're more than likely not going to be there week after week. The ones that are in Mournhold, I can tell you right now, they are well established and they have a due system. So keep that in the back of your mind. For the second type of guild, you is going to be a trials guild. Now, for a trials guild, the main goal of a trials guild is to do trials, obviously. And you don't need to have a big population in that guild, but you're going to want to have at least a minimum of 12 people, if not more so. Um, 10 being for the basic requirements for a guild bank, and maybe a little extra. But the goal of any trials guild, the basic goal, the basic expectation is, in my opinion at least, to do one trial each week. And if you're doing the trial, you're going to want 50% plus one of your people in your guild to do that trial. If it is not 50% plus one, meaning 7 people, if you don't have 7 people doing the trial, then you can't even claim that as your trial. You're just doing a random trial at this point. So when you're doing a trials guild, make sure you're doing a trial each week and make sure that you have at least 50% plus one of your members doing the trial, because otherwise you can't claim credit for it. It's not your trial if you don't have a majority within the group from your guild. And of course, make sure you train your people and explain to them how to do the trial if they don't know how to do it, and try to be as friendly as you can be. Don't get caught up into drama with trials. And that goes for any guild. For a PvP guild, kind of the same standard as a trial guild. You want to at least do at least one group activity each week that is PvP related, whether you're taking keeps or trying to go for an emperorship. I've seen some guilds that are just emp guilds, as they call them, and their whole goal is to establish one of their people for emperors, and that's fine. They're doing their job. They're, doing PvP activities, whether they fail to get emperor or succeed in getting emperor, it really doesn't matter as long as you're making an effort to bring people within your guild together to have a common goal, go out there, have some fun, and do PvP activities. But that's the main focus of a PvP guild. You want to have PvP events at least once a week. I use the once a week standard for most of this stuff because if you do it once a month or longer, you're going to get inactives very quickly and you're going to not meet your own goals and you could fall apart as a guild. So, next guild, Dungeon Guild, same thing. Want to run a dungeon each week, make sure you're doing that. Now, for a dungeon, of course, you only need 4 people. So, you can have a guild of 4 people as long as they're all 4 of them are doing dungeon activities. But I think the minimum standard for any guild is 10 people. This way you can at least have storage capabilities and put stuff in the guild bank. But again, you don't need a high population for this guild, just like a PvP guild or a trial guild. Those are your main goals. Now, a social guild, I got to be honest with you, social guilds come and they go very quickly in this game. And the reason for that is you get a lot of drama in them, and when that drama hits and becomes toxic, they go under very quickly. And uh, just looking at the statistics over the years, I have seen a lot of social guilds go under simply because they're mismanaged well. If you're doing a social guild, obviously make sure you're doing lots of events to get people talking, to get people interacting. You're going to get shy people, so don't force them to talk. Just use incentives to get them to participate. You never want to force people to do things, so always provide incentives. That'll get the ball going, and that'll help you. But for a social guild, you can actually do a hybrid with social guilds. You can kind of be a social guild and a trial guild, or a social guild and a PvP guild. But being just pure social, you're really going to have dedicated people. I'm just going to say that. I mean, a social guild by itself, you have your hand. It's almost like an everything guild. You have your hands in everything, but you want to interact and stuff like that with a social guild. So just make sure you have plenty of events going each week, and again, once a week standard, have something going, anything going, at least once a week. This way you stay viable. Role-playing guilds, I gotta be honest, I don't have any experience whatsoever with role-playing guilds. I don't know a whole lot about them. All I'm gonna say is they're very similar to social guilds, only it's even, it's a very specific thing that they're role-playing sometimes about. And I gotta be honest, it can get kind of weird too in these guilds. But hey, again, shoot for the standard of 10 people. to try to get the ball going, so you can have a guild bank and all that. But it's kind of similar to a social guild, same standards. You want to do activities together and have a common cause or whatever. So, sorry I couldn't give more advice on a role-playing guild. I just don't know a whole lot about them. I don't have any experience in that. Storage guilds, really easy to make. You find 10 people, and if you want to keep those 10 people, make sure they are low levels, meaning they're right out of the boat, just starting ESO, and I guarantee you'll get to 10 in no time. That's how you build up a storage guild. You want to get a little bit more than 10 because people will leave the guild once they see you're not doing anything, but the goal of a storage guild is the opposite of a normal guild. You want to get as many inactive people as you can so you can keep that 10 people in your guild. So, there's some advice on that. Snipe guilds, this is interesting. You make a guild of 50, and the whole goal of the guild is to just create chaos with public traders and steal public traders. And they're 100% funded by usually one individual, maybe two or three, but usually one person controls the whole operation. Same goal as a storage guild. You want 50 people that are going to be completely inactive so you can keep your status of going for public traders because you need 50. If you go below that 50, you won't be able to put in a bid to snipe somebody. So same goal as a storage guild, only a little bit different because you're targeting public traders just to create havoc in the game and whatnot. Um, but yeah, snipe guilds are interesting, but they're only for the rich. Okay, if you got a lot of gold, then you can create a snipe guild. If you don't have a lot of gold, don't make a snipe guild because you're just wasting your time and your gold too. But if you really want to make one, like I said, the threshold is 50 people, and you want to try to get as many inactives as you can. And then we go to the last guild type. I call it the miscellaneous category. Basically, anything that I haven't mentioned, you get some weird guilds, you get some religious guilds, some politics guilds, and even some guilds that basically talk and get people together that are in a certain region of the country or in the world. Like the England Guild or the Alabama Guild or the Tennessee Guild. Like here in the States, they'll be you know from specific states. They're kind of cool. They're unique. But that guild's kind of almost like a social guild in a sense. And again, you want to shoot for 10 people minimum on that guild, but it could be a small guild or it can be a big guild. That's up to you. All right, folks. So that is kind of an overview on the different categories of guilds you can create in this game. And like I said in my in lesson one, before you go starting the guild, make sure you know ahead of time what kind of category you're going into. So it makes up your core identity for your guild, because this is what you're going to be known as. From there, you can expand upon that later on. You can become eventually the everything guild if you so choose to want it that way. But remember though, you want to be known for something and you want to niche down. This way you can get your numbers there and the type of people that you want in your guild. So keep that in the back of your mind. All right, folks. So that concludes this video on the types of niches um, out there for your respective guild. If you like this video, please hit the like button and become a subscriber. I put out videos on Elder Scrolls Online each and every week, and I'll see you next time.